What's going on, guys? It's the ASM Artist here, back with another lo-fi video. I just wanted to do something lo-fi here. We're in the studio again. I do this if you know some I can't talk. I know I have a couple of you who are my supporters on Patreon, and at the $25 tier you get the 4K video that's exclusive to the Patreon, but you also get a personal lo-fi video, and I usually shoot those right here. So if you like this feel, then consider supporting me on Patreon. But anyway, that's enough for my shameless plug. I have the studio all set up today. We're gonna have a musician come in and play an original song back there. I have to get this all set up still, but it was a whole ordeal this morning because there's a bed in here that I sometimes sleep in this room, and I had to move it back behind that, and yeah. Anyway, I wanted to ramble a little bit about cameras in this video because I have another one on the way. But I'll explain myself. And I don't have GAS, it's called. A lot of people who get cameras and stuff, they call gear acquisition syndrome, GAS. I have gas. But it's a thing, and it's a little bit of that, but I also have practical reasons for why I get the cameras that I do. So anyway, I wanted to ramble a little bit about that. These are my two cameras that I have. Obviously this one sticks out a lot more. I liked having them differentiated from each other. These have the retro film aesthetic. They're Fujifilm cameras, but yeah, they're just, the quality is astounding for, I mean, they're not cheap, but they're cheap compared to other cameras that can do just as good of things. But yeah, this is my silver X-T3. These are great for photo and video. I shoot all my hi-fi videos on the channel with these cameras, and I get plenty of compliments with the looks, you know, after I color grade it and all that stuff. But I also use these professionally for my video stuff. But I wanted to talk more specifically about photography, because this summer I've been getting into photography as just like a personal thing, not necessarily as much with clients, but just because I love it. I love going out in nature and stuff. You can't really tell just because of the way my phone's picking up the lighting, but I'm getting some sun lately from going outside and doing landscape pictures. But yeah, this was my previously smallest lens right here on this. By the way, that's what the inside looks like. To be very careful not to get dust on that image sensor. But this was my previously smallest lens. This is a 23mm f2 prime, which Fuji is all about the compact, small aesthetic. Like I said, other cameras that could do just as good of things would cost like 2 to 3 times as much and be a lot bigger and clunkier. But this lens here, you know, was my smallest, like I said. Great photography lens and a great video lens because of the autofocus. However, I just got this little pancake lens, and this is actually a 7-year-old lens. Fuji's been making digital cameras for like 10 years. I've been doing a lot of research on Fuji, I'm sure you can tell. But this is called a pancake lens. This is now my smallest lens, and it's insane how tiny this thing is. This is like a fully, it looks like a toy, right? This is like a really good lens, I'm telling you. I'll have to, that's the thing, it's a 7-year-old lens, but it's, because of that, the autofocus is not great, and I will not be using this for videos. But what's amazing is just like this becomes so much more pocketable, this versus that even though this lens is exceptionally small for what it can do, like this one's so much smaller and like pretty equally just as good as that. But like I said, I have another camera on the way. It's another Fuji, but it's not an X-T3. It's gonna be basically this lens and that camera, which will be, it's called a Fuji XM1. It's one of the first ones they ever made. It's like this big, it's very tiny. It will make the X-T3 look huge, even though it's not. But I'm gonna pair that little thing with this lens. And the thing is, the image quality on that will be just as good. It's the same size sensor as these, but it'll be the older version. And it'll be just so good. It'll be so tiny, but like 10 times better than smartphone pictures. And I don't know, my goal is to, like I said, getting into personal photography, have that real tiny little thing on me. And like even these are big enough that with these larger lenses, it becomes like, well, if I'm going on a walk, do I really want to bring that? It's kind of a hassle. But I just want it to be like so small and portable, it's just like a no-brainer that I want to bring it along and just start documenting everything. Even just like family events and stuff. because I have the personal belief that everybody has a cell phone, and everybody takes cell phone pictures, but they all just kind of end up in the void. And I know that if I'm doing pictures with a real camera, I'm actually going to care about it more. I'm going to edit the pictures, and I'm going to put it on my hard drives and keep it in a storage space forever. And I always lose phone pictures, so that's just my rationale for my gear acquisition syndrome. But it is real reasoning why I'm getting that. But I'll have to ramble about that little tiny camera when I get it and show you what it is compared to the black XT3. But definitely tell me which you like more. Do you like the black or the silver XT3? Both very nice cameras. So like I said, this is an f2 lens, so it lets more light in it than this lens. You'll see the opening is a lot smaller. This f2.8, this lets a whole stop extra of light in, which stop is just like an arbitrary term for a noticeable amount, a little bit more light. I'll have to show you though. I'm gonna ramble about this. I might as well show you so this has like 2 more stops than the f2. So this is the range of my lenses at this point. So you can see how much bigger this front element is. This is an f1.4. Look at that. Whoa. Oh, there I am. So this is a great portrait lens. Because it opens up like that, you can get a nice blurry background, and it's just better in low light. And this would be like the in-between that versus that versus that. And to compare the difference. But that's what makes this so portable, because the aperture's not so big. It doesn't have to be this large. And it's just a little interesting factoid. Now I have to put the lens caps on these. I just kind of threw them everywhere for demonstrational purposes. But this has been a lot of rambling and not very much ASMR. So I hope if you've been watching this point, you at least find my voice or what I'm talking about relaxing. But I've been pretty good, like consistently going through the whole video. Also, there's also, man, I'm very rambly this morning. Like I listen to Sarah Manganese ASMR and my brain just kind of shuts off to what they're saying, but there's also just like this background rustling as I'm just handling stuff. And that's almost, that adds to the relaxing bit. But anyway, big reason I got these Fujifilm's cameras. First of all, they just look really cool. Even the black one looks cool. I definitely think the silver one has more style though. I'm gonna try to evenly get silver and black lenses, depending on, I'm starting to buy stuff used, and you can usually get these a lot cheaper used, so might just have to deal with that. Anyway, my grandmother had a camera. It was called Chinon. It was, back in the 70s or 80s, like a film camera, like where you would develop the film, and it looked essentially exactly like this camera with a larger lens. Those were SLR cameras, which then became DSLRs. I'm sure you've heard of those. A lot of YouTubers use those. And then these are like the newest kind, which it takes out DSLRs and SLRs, had mirrors in them for the viewfinder, because it would reflect out of the lens and up into here so you could see. But this takes the mirror out and it just has an image sensor. And really the main difference is that instead of a mirror reflecting up into the viewfinder, this just has its own special screen in here, which consumes more battery. So generally mirrorless has less battery life, but higher image quality, because they're like the newest and the best, and they've been out like 10 years now. But man, that was very rambly. I hope that was interesting. That was just non-stop information about cameras. I wanted to get that out because I've just been doing that research on my personal camera, the Fujifilm XM1, that real tiny guy. That's on its way. Should be coming actually tomorrow. Very excited about that. I'll put a picture on my Instagram for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about all that information that's been up in my head, because I've just been doing all this research on Fujifilm cameras and watching content on just like personal photography. If you think just like listening to someone who's passionate about photography and cameras is interesting and something that you like, check out the channel Chris Orange. He has like 5,000 subscribers, but he is a photography channel, and he's like this British guy, and he's just in love with old Fuji cameras. Like he gets all of the ones that are like 10 years old, and he's just like in love with photography. He has a video about like how photography like saved his life, essentially, he says, because he had like, you know, mental health issues, and he said that it really helped him. But yeah, if this, listening to someone talk about something you're passionate about is therapeutic, and maybe, I don't know, you could be in this similar boat as Chris, or, you know, me at certain times in my life, definitely consider getting a cheaper camera that you can fully manually. These are better than phones. I'm just telling you, get a real camera, not a phone. Get a camera that you can actually select your settings, because phone photographers are not a thing. I'm telling you, your phone makes all the decisions for you. But anyway, my point is, consider photography, because it is very therapeutic once you go through the whole process of, you know, going on a walk, and then you catch like a really cool moment and you get excited, then you edit the picture, and then it's like the gratification of like, wow, I like captured this. I don't know, consider it. I know some people have said they wanted to get into photography because of how passionately I talk about it, but yeah, if that's the case, then I urge you to try it out. I'm trying to get a bunch of people in my personal life, like anybody I can. I'm like encouraging, like, hey, do you want to like go on a shoot with me? I have a couple cameras now. I teach you. Like, I'm all about it. That's all I have to say. I hope I don't get any complaints on this, because, man, it was hot, you know. I guess ASMR is such a blanket term. I guess straight rambling could be ASMR to somebody, but I'm sure somebody's gonna be like, you didn't even do hand sounds or whisper or whatever. You had the, like I said, I had the rustling. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Consider supporting the Patreon if you want exclusive content that's in 4K and is actually ASMR all the way through. This is an anomaly of a video. If this is the first video of mine you've ever watched, they're not all like this. They're kind of like this, with more ASMR. I just wanted to talk at you, I guess. But like I said, leave a like, consider supporting the Patreon, leave a comment down below. I do want to know what you thought, as long as it's nice. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.